Starborn Sage, Part 2. The legend of the Starborn Sage was thought to have ended when the heavens themselves crowned him with celestial wisdom, his light guiding mortals and immortals alike. Yet, the stars whisper of unfinished threads woven into the tapestry of fate. In this second chapter of the saga, the sage's path stretches beyond the boundaries of the known realms. What was once victory now becomes trial, as ancient secrets stir in the void and forgotten powers awaken with envy of the sage's brilliance. Shadows, older than the constellations, move to unravel the balance of the cosmos. But within the heart of the sage burns a flame that no darkness can smother, a flame kindled by humility, boundless resolve, and the will to protect all life beneath the stars. His journey is no longer just about ascension. It is about facing the eternal truth that even the brightest star must confront the abyss. The tale continues. The heavens watch, and the Starborn Sage rises once more. The Final Ascension, Volume 2. Chapter 6. Shadows Beyond the Veil. The moment the golden light of the Ascendant settled into Jiang Chen's core, a silence unlike any other draped over the starry expanse. The cosmos seemed to pause, as if holding its breath, waiting for what would come next. His veins still hummed with the aftershock of celestial energy, the raw power of the Ascendant flowing through him like liquid starlight. Yet, amidst this newfound radiance, a shadow lingered at the edges of perception, a darkness untouched by his ascension. It whispered to him in a language older than the realms themselves, urging him toward a place beyond the veil of known reality. Power alone cannot illuminate all paths. The voice intoned, resonating deep within his mind. Some truths lie beyond sight, beyond even ascension. Jiang Chun clenched his fists, determination sparking in his violet eyes. Then I will walk those paths, he said, his voice steady. If darkness waits, I will face it. Without warning, the air around him warped. Stars bent unnaturally, forming a swirling portal of black and silver. The Starborn Sage knew instinctively this was not a natural phenomenon. This was an invitation, or perhaps a challenge. Stepping through, he found himself in a dimension where light and shadow intertwined like twin serpents. The sky above was a deep obsidian, yet constellations shone faintly, flickering as if uncertain of their own existence. Rivers of luminous energy flowed through the land, splitting and merging like living veins. A figure emerged from the shadows, a being draped in robes that seemed woven from midnight itself, eyes gleaming like twin eclipses. You have ascended, the figure said, voice both alluring and terrible. But ascension is only the beginning. Few who reach your level dare to enter the realm beyond. Even fewer survive what waits. Jiang Chen's gaze did not falter. I am no stranger to trials. If survival requires more than strength, I will endure. The shadowed figure tilted its head as if amused. Endurance is but one test. Knowledge, sacrifice, and the courage to see beyond the self are the others. Here, you will confront fragments of your soul you never knew existed. Some will uplift you, others may shatter you. A sudden surge of visions assaulted him. Flashes of his past, memories altered, possibilities of futures yet unrealized. He saw himself failing, loved ones lost, worlds falling into ruin, and through it all, a silent, haunting voice. Asterisk. Are you ready to become more than mortal or even starborn? Jiang Chen's chest tightened, but he steadied himself. I am ready, he whispered. The figure extended a hand, and a fragment of shadow light coalesced into a mirror. Look, your first trial awaits. Only by confronting the hidden truths of your heart will you uncover the power that even the final ascension could not grant. As Jiang Chun stepped closer, the mirror rippled, and the shadow of his own doubts and fears began to emerge, taking form. Each step into the reflection felt like walking deeper into the essence of himself, his ambition, his insecurities, the consequences of power unchecked. The realm beyond had claimed its first test, and Jiang Chun, the Starborn Sage, realized that this journey was far from over. It was no longer about ascension, but transformation, the forging of a soul that could bridge light and shadow, fate and free will, life and the cosmos itself. And somewhere in the distance, a voice laughed, not cruelly, but knowingly, as if the universe itself had begun to awaken. Chapter 7. Trial of the Shattered Reflection. The mirror pulsed with a cold, silver light, each ripple distorting Jiang Chen's form. His reflection stepped forward independently, eyes burning with a strange, uncanny intensity. It was him, and yet not him. Every hesitation, every fear, every regret he had buried beneath the weight of his journey seemed concentrated into this spectral twin. Who are you? Jiang Chen asked, though his voice felt swallowed by the shifting space. I am the truth you refuse to see, the reflection replied, voice layered with echoes of his own. Every weakness you hide, every shadow you deny, every choice you avoided, they all live here. And now, they will test you. Before Jiang Chun could react, the reflection lunged. But instead of striking with physical force, it attacked his mind, plunging him into memories and possibilities like knives. He was back in his childhood, witnessing facing helplessness, fear, and loss. He saw allies he had failed, enemies he had underestimated, and even fleeting moments of cowardice he had buried deep. Each vision struck with the intensity of reality, forcing him to relive the pain of every mistake. Jiang Chun fell to his knees in the realm beyond, the visions threatening to overwhelm him. But then he remembered the light of the final ascension, the golden energy that had transformed him. The warmth of it flared inside, grounding him. "No," he growled, eyes blazing with violet fire. "I do not deny who I am. I accept it, all of it." The reflection paused, its features twisting with surprise. "Acceptance? Few manage that." Jiang Chun rose, and the energy from his core began to radiate outward, bathing the shadowed realm in a glow that mingled with the darkness. His twin mirrored every movement, and as they clashed, the fight was no longer purely physical. It was a battle of wills. Every strike, every block, every movement revealed a truth. That power alone was not enough to overcome this trial. Only understanding, integration, and courage could forge victory. He reached out, touching the reflection's chest. Light and shadow swirled violently, then collapsed inward, leaving only a single, unified image, himself, whole and complete, yet enriched by the understanding of all he had feared. The realm beyond trembled. The shadowed figure who had sent him here appeared once more, cloaked in midnight, its eyes gleaming with approval. "You have taken your first step, Starborn Sage," it intoned. "You faced yourself, not the hero you wish to be, but the being you truly are. Many crumble here, unable to endure the sight of their own imperfections." Jiang Chun steadied his breath, feeling the energy of the realm beyond now flowing through him with harmony rather than chaos. "Then what comes next?" The figure smiled, though its face remained hidden in shadow. "Next, you must seek the celestial nexus. There, you will encounter forces that defy understanding, allies who may not be what they seem, and enemies whose power rivals your own. Only by walking the line between light and shadow, choice and destiny, can you hope to uncover the ultimate truth of your ascension." A pathway of shimmering starlight unfolded before him, stretching into infinity. Jiang Chun felt the weight of countless possibilities pressing down, yet also the thrill of discovery. Each step forward was a promise and a challenge, a test of both power and heart. As he stepped onto the path, he whispered to himself, "I am not afraid. I will embrace the darkness and the light alike, for only then will I truly ascend." And with that, the Starborn Sage began the next leg of his journey, deeper into the realm beyond, toward a destiny that no star had yet witnessed. Chapter 8: The Celestial Nexus. The path of starlight stretched endlessly before Jiang Chun, twisting and folding like a river frozen in mid-flow. Each step carried him deeper into the realm beyond, yet he felt no fear, only anticipation. The air shimmered with a strange resonance, a song of existence itself, vibrating in harmony with the power now coursing through his veins. After what felt like days in timeless motion, the path opened into a vast expanse, the celestial nexus. It was a realm beyond reckoning, where realms intersected and time flowed in fractals. Mountains of light and shadow rose impossibly high. Rivers of energy flowed in spirals through the sky, and constellations moved as if alive, whispering secrets of creation. Floating islands hovered, each a microcosm of a universe in itself. The very ground seemed sentient, responding to his presence with pulses of energy. At the center of this cosmic convergence stood a towering obelisk, carved from pure starlight, radiating a force that made Jiang Chen's head spin. Around it, figures emerged, some humanoid, some alien, and some indescribable, each glowing with the essence of a starborn. Their eyes turned to him, curious, calculating, and in some cases, challenging. One figure stepped forward, cloaked in silver light that rippled like liquid metal. It bore an aura of command that even Jiang Chun could feel pressing against his core. "Welcome, Starborn Sage," the figure said, voiced like a chorus of distant stars. Few reach the celestial nexus in their first ascension. Fewer still survive the trials of the realm beyond. You have potential, but potential alone will not suffice here. Jiang Chun bowed slightly, feeling the weight of both respect and caution. "I have faced my own shadows. I am ready for what comes next." The figure's eyes glimmered with something almost mischievous. "Readiness is subjective. Here, you will encounter others like yourself. Some will aid your journey. Some will seek to claim your power. Trust is a weapon as sharp as any blade, and betrayal a constant companion." From the edges of the nexus, other Starborn approached, a warrior whose body shimmered like fractured constellations, a sage whose eyes held entire galaxies, and a rogue whose shadow seemed to devour light itself. They stopped at varying distances, each sizing Jiang Chen up, as if the nexus itself had summoned them to test him. Jiang Chen's senses flared. He felt both opportunity and danger radiating from these newcomers. His mind raced with strategies, yet he knew that raw power alone could not navigate this web of alliances, rivalries, and hidden motives. Then, without warning, the obelisk pulsed. A wave of energy swept across the nexus, and an ethereal voice echoed through the expanse. Asterisk, only those who master the balance of light and shadow, heart and mind, shall awaken the celestial codex. Fail, and your essence will be scattered among the stars, lost to eternity. Asterisk, the starborn around him stiffened, some stepping forward as if claiming a challenge, others retreating into their islands of power. Jiang Chun tightened his fists, his heart steady. This was no ordinary battlefield. This was a proving ground for the cosmos itself, and he would not falter. I am Jiang Chun, he said, voice carrying across the nexus. Starborn Sage, I will not be scattered. I will rise beyond the stars and claim the truth that awaits us all. A ripple of energy ran through the celestial nexus, acknowledging his declaration. The first confrontation was imminent. Allies and rivals alike moved, and the cosmic dance of power, strategy, and destiny began. Jiang Chen's journey had entered a new phase, one where strength, wisdom, and the courage to embrace the unknown would be tested against beings as formidable as the universe itself. And at the center of it all waited the celestial codex, a secret older than creation, holding the keys to a power beyond imagining. The Starborn Sage took a deep breath, feeling both exhilaration and resolve. Whatever trials awaited, he would face them, for the Nexus would either forge him into a legend or consume him entirely. Chapter 9. The Duel of Stars. The celestial nexus pulsed with anticipation. Islands of cosmic energy shifted, swirling currents of starlight and shadow coiling through the sky like serpents. Jiang Chen stood on the central platform, feeling the gravity of countless eyes upon him, some curious, some wary, others silently predatory. From the floating expanse, a figure descended, moving with a grace that made the stars themselves bend. Cloaked in an aura of deep indigo, with eyes like black holes absorbing all light, the Starborn regarded Jiang Chun with a cold, calculating intensity. I am Lyran of the Shadow Constellation, the newcomer announced, voice resonant and sharp. I claim the right to test your strength. The Nexus recognizes only those worthy. Stand or fall into oblivion. Jiang Chen's violet eyes met the darkness of Lyran's gaze. There was no malice there, only certainty, as if the cosmos itself had forged Lyran to be both judge and adversary. I do not seek unnecessary conflict, Jiang Chen said, his voice calm yet firm, but I will not step aside from the path fate has laid before me. With that, Lyran smiled faintly, and the air around them fractured. Stars bent and streaks of shadow lunged forward, forming weapons and shields that shimmered with raw, unbridled power. The duel began, not with words, but with motion. Lyran struck first, summoning tendrils of shadow energy that lashed like whips of night. Jiang Chun countered with bursts of starfire, their light colliding with shadow in blinding explosions that echoed across the nexus. Each attack carried more than brute force. It was a dance of cosmic skill. Lyran's strikes were precise, anticipating Jiang Chen's movements with uncanny foresight, but Jiang Chun had learned from the realm beyond. He had faced himself, and in understanding his own shadow, he now saw the rhythm of this duel as an extension of his own being. He flowed with the currents of the nexus, turning every strike into counterstrike, every defense into offense. Starfire spiraled, merging with shadow tendrils, creating patterns of energy that shimmered like constellations in motion. The ground beneath them cracked, floating shards of light and darkness orbiting like planets caught in a storm. You are stronger than I anticipated, Lyran admitted mid-battle, voice tinged with respect. Few have ever harmonized with the Nexus in this way. Jiang Chun smiled faintly, breathing steadily. Strength is meaningless without understanding. The Nexus is not merely a battlefield, it is a teacher, and I intend to learn everything it offers. The duel escalated. Shadow and starlight coalesced into a vortex, threatening to consume both warriors. But Jiang Chun focused, channeling the balance of light and shadow within him. He remembered the lessons of the realm beyond, the trial of the shattered reflection, the acceptance of all that he was. With a final, radiant surge, he unleashed a wave of integrated energy, neither light nor shadow alone, but a fusion of both. It struck Lyran's defenses, not with destruction, but with revelation. The indigo-cloaked Starborn staggered, eyes wide, as the energy mirrored their own form, showing them the truth of their power and limitation. When the light faded, Lyran knelt, not in defeat, but acknowledgement. You have mastered more than strength. You have mastered the Nexus itself. Few have ever done this. Jiang Chun extended a hand, helping Lyran rise. Then let us walk this path together, if destiny allows, he said. We may yet face greater trials, perhaps ones that neither of us can withstand alone. Lyran studied him, then nodded. Very well, Starborn Sage. We will see what awaits in the Celestial Codex. But be warned, there are those who will stop at nothing to claim it first. The two warriors turned their gaze to the obelisk at the center of the Nexus. Its light shimmered, revealing intricate patterns and symbols, hints of knowledge older than the stars themselves. Jiang Chun could feel the pull of destiny tightening, drawing him forward. Ahead lay not only battles, but revelations that could reshape the very foundation of the cosmos. And the Starborn Sage understood, with every fiber of his being, that his true journey had only just begun. Chapter 10: Guardians of the Codex. The air around the obelisk shimmered as Jiang Chun and Lyran approached, the intricate symbols carved into its starlit surface pulsing like a heartbeat. The celestial nexus seemed to hold its breath, as though the very cosmos were aware of what was about to unfold. A sudden vibration coursed through the ground. From the radiant core of the obelisk, colossal figures emerged, starborn constructs of pure cosmic energy, their forms both humanoid and abstract, as if the universe had itself sculpted warriors from light and shadow. Their eyes glowed like supernovae, and every step sent shockwaves through the nexus. "They are the Guardians," Lyran whispered, voice low. "Ancient protectors of the Codex. They do not fight for power, but for balance. Only those who prove worthy may proceed." Jiangchen nodded. He could feel the immense pressure radiating from the constructs. This trial would test more than strength. It would test insight, will, and the harmony between light and shadow within his soul. The first Guardian, towering over 30 feet, extended a hand. Its voice resonated across the nexus like a chorus of stars. "Who enters the Celestial Codex? Speak your purpose, or be undone." "I am Jiang Chun," he declared, stepping forward with unwavering confidence. "Starborn Sage, I seek knowledge and mastery, not conquest. I accept the responsibilities that come with power, and I will not abuse it." The Guardian's eyes flared, and the starlit ground beneath Jiang Chun shifted into a vast arena of constellations. The constructs moved, but not to attack. They tested, probing his mind, body, and spirit. From the shadows, illusions of failure and doubt materialized. Jiang Chun saw worlds burning, allies lost, and his own powers turned against him. Yet he had walked the realm beyond. He had faced the reflection of his darkest self. He would not falter. He reached into his core, harmonizing the golden light of his final ascension with the lessons of shadow he had embraced. The illusions wavered, then shattered under the brilliance of integrated energy. The second Guardian materialized, a being of flowing shadow interwoven with starlight. It spoke. "Courage alone will not suffice. You must understand the consequences of your choices, the threads that connect all life, and the weight of every action." This time, the trial was less physical. Jiang Chun saw visions of potential futures, each branching from a single decision. Some led to harmony, others to devastation. He realized that mastery meant understanding not only how to wield power, but how to govern it wisely. With calm clarity, he touched the center of the arena, focusing on balance rather than dominance. The branching timelines converged, revealing a path that harmonized all possibilities. The Guardian bowed, acknowledging his insight. Finally, the third Guardian, a fusion of light and shadow swirling into an almost impossible geometry, spoke. "Only those who embrace both self and cosmos may claim the Codex. Are you ready to bear the weight of eternity?" Jiang Chun stepped forward. His heart was steady, his mind clear. "I am ready," he said. "I will accept the burden, the responsibility, and the knowledge. I will not turn away from the truth, no matter how vast or terrible it may be." The Guardian pulsed, then dissolved into streams of energy that merged with the obelisk. The Celestial Codex opened, revealing symbols that glimmered with knowledge older than the stars, and a resonance that seemed to sing directly into Jiang Chen's soul. He felt the Codex reach into him, offering insights into the nature of the cosmos, the hidden laws of the Starborn, and powers that could shape the very fabric of reality. The journey ahead would demand more than strength. It would demand wisdom, sacrifice, and the courage to face enemies and allies alike, each with their own ambitions. Lyran placed a hand on Jiang Chen's shoulder. "The Codex is revealed. But remember, knowledge alone can be a weapon or a curse. We must choose carefully how we wield it." Jiang Chen nodded, feeling both the thrill and the weight of destiny. Ahead lay paths of unimaginable challenge, where allies could become foes, and the balance of the cosmos itself might hinge on their choices. The Starborn Sage had claimed his first true victory in the Celestial Nexus, but the deeper mysteries of the Codex and the trials that would define the fate of countless realms were only beginning. Chapter 11: The Starborn Duel. The Celestial Codex had revealed fragments of knowledge, but its cryptic symbols hinted at truths yet to be mastered. Jiang Chun could feel the power simmering inside him, a torrent of starlight and shadow, fused into one. Every fiber of his being pulsed with anticipation. The Nexus itself seemed to recognize him now, not just as an ascended Starborn, but as a force capable of shaping fate itself. From the distance, a ripple of energy drew his attention. A figure emerged, radiating a presence that rivaled his own. Sleek, agile, and clad in starlit armor that shimmered like fractured galaxies, the Starborn advanced with confident steps. "I am Caliph of the Void Flame," the newcomer announced, voice sharp like a comet's tail. "I have come to test the strength of the so-called Starborn Sage. Let us see if your power matches your reputation." Jiang Chen's eyes narrowed, violet fire igniting within them. If it is a duel you seek, then I will not disappoint. But know this, my goal is not conquest, but understanding. If you truly seek a test, fight with respect for the Nexus and yourself. Caliph smirked, energy crackling around his fists, forming blazing arcs that tore through the ambient starlight. Without warning, he launched forward, faster than the eye could track, and struck with a series of blows that shattered the floating platforms around them. Jiang Chun moved like liquid starlight, his own body bending, dodging, and countering with the speed and precision of someone who had already mastered both light and shadow. His attacks were not mere strikes. They were extensions of cosmic energy, shaping the battlefield itself. A kick sent shards of starlight slicing through the air, while a sweep of his hand unleashed a wave of integrated energy that pushed Caliph back. Each movement was a display of mastery, the harmony of ascension and shadow lessons allowing Jiang Chun to predict and adapt instantaneously. Caliph grinned, impressed. Not bad, but can you handle this? With a roar, he summoned a cyclone of void energy, spinning like a miniature black hole, threatening to consume everything in its path. Jiang Chen's eyes flared as he channeled his final ascension energy with the lessons of the realm beyond. In one fluid motion, he released a radiant burst that collided with the void cyclone, creating an explosion of light and darkness that painted the Nexus in dazzling brilliance. When the light faded, both warriors stood, slightly bruised but exhilarated. Caliph's eyes glimmered with respect. You are truly remarkable. Few have ever displayed such mastery. It seems the Starborn Sage lives up to his name. Jiang Chun lowered his fists, breathing steadily. Strength is only part of the journey. The Nexus tests more than power. It tests mind, heart, and soul. Caliph nodded. Then perhaps we are allies, at least until the Codex reveals its next challenge. But remember, there are those who covet its knowledge, and they will not hesitate to destroy anything in their path. A pulse from the Celestial Codex resonated through the Nexus, signaling that the first phase of trials was complete. Jiang Chun could feel the surge of energy coursing through him, a confirmation that his fighting prowess had been fully recognized by the Nexus itself. He smiled faintly, feeling the thrill of combat, the exhilaration of mastery, and the weight of responsibility pressing upon him all at once. The Starborn Sage had proven himself, but greater trials awaited, where the line between ally and enemy, light and shadow, would blur even further. And somewhere deep within the Codex, a secret stirred, one that would demand not just strength, but wisdom beyond comprehension. Jiang Chun clenched his fists, then let the journey continue. I am ready for whatever comes next. Chapter 12, The Nexus Gauntlet. The Celestial Codex pulsed with an unearthly rhythm, casting rippling light across the floating islands of the Nexus. Jiang Chun stood at its center, his body still resonating with the power of his duel with Caliph. The exhilaration of victory lingered, but the Codex's energy warned him that the trials were far from over. Suddenly, the ground beneath him trembled, and the surrounding islands rotated and shifted, creating a labyrinthine arena of starlight, shadow, and flowing energy. From the edges of the platforms, three figures emerged simultaneously, each radiating immense power, each a Starborn in their own right. These are your next challengers, Caliph said, standing beside him now as an ally. The Nexus tests not only strength, but adaptability. You must face them together and alone. The first opponent, a towering warrior wreathed in crimson starlight, charged with a roar that split the air. The second, a lithe assassin cloaked in shadows that seemed to devour light, circled with predatory grace. The third, a sorcerer whose every gesture warped reality, summoned waves of energy that bent space itself. Jiang Chen's violet eyes narrowed. Then let us begin. With a single motion, he unleashed a surge of integrated energy, creating a protective sphere of light and shadow that deflected the sorcerer's space-warping attack. At the same time, he darted forward, striking the Crimson Warrior with a combination of martial precision and energy-infused strikes, each blow shaking the floating platform beneath them. The shadow assassin moved faster than perception, but Jiang Chen's awareness, sharpened by the trials of the realm beyond, allowed him to anticipate and counter the fluid attacks. Every movement was a dance, each strike a calculated interplay of power and insight. Caliph assisted, attacking the sorcerer with synchronized bursts, but the true test was Jiang Chen's ability to adapt to multiple opponents simultaneously. He spun, leaping across the shifting platforms, weaving light and shadow around him. His movements blurred into streaks of starlight, and his aura flared like a supernova. He executed a devastating combination, a strike infused with final ascension energy, a sweep of shadow that disarmed the assassin, and a surge of radiant force that knocked the Crimson Warrior off balance. The sorcerer's space-warping waves collided with his energy, creating explosions of cosmic light that illuminated the entire Nexus. Even as the battle raged, Jiang Chun remained focused, using the Codex's subtle guidance to anticipate anticipate openings and weaknesses. With a final, fluid motion, he converged all his energy into a singular strike. The combined power of light and shadow surged outward, striking all three opponents simultaneously. The shockwave knocked them back, sending them tumbling across the floating islands, and for the first time, the arena fell silent. Breathing heavily, Jiang Chun landed at the center, aura blazing. Caliph approached, eyes wide with respect. "You've surpassed even my expectations. Few have ever mastered the gauntlet like this." Jiang Chen's gaze drifted toward the glowing obelisk. The codex pulsed in acknowledgement, its energy now harmonizing with him as if recognizing his readiness for the next phase. The Nexus had not only tested his combat prowess, but also his ability to remain composed, adaptable, and strategic under extreme pressure. A whisper echoed through the arena, both from the codex and the very fabric of the Nexus itself. Asterisk, the true trial approaches, where allies and enemies will collide, and only those who master the infinite dance of power and wisdom shall prevail. Asterisk, Jiang Chun clenched his fists, feeling the exhilaration of combat and the promise of greater challenges. The Starborn Sage had proven his strength, but the Codex's secrets and the trials that would shape the destiny of countless realms were only beginning to unfold. With Caliph at his side and the Codex guiding his path, Jiang Chun took a deep breath. "Then let the next challenge come. I will meet it head-on." And with that, the Celestial Nexus shifted once more, revealing new paths, new adversaries, and the promise of battles that would test not only his body, but his mind, heart, and soul. Chapter 13, The Shadow of the Starborn. The Celestial Nexus had shifted again. Floating islands of starlight now formed jagged spires, and a dense mist of shadows swirled across the battlefield. Jiang Chun felt the pulse of the Codex stronger than ever. It was warning him, urging caution. From the mist, a figure emerged, taller than any Starborn he had seen, cloaked in shifting darkness that seemed to absorb even the surrounding starlight. It radiated an aura of sheer inevitability. Its eyes glowed a deep crimson, cutting through the haze like twin eclipses. "I am Veilker," the being said, its voice reverberating like collapsing stars. "The Nexus has deemed you worthy, but I am the trial that will decide if you are truly ready to wield the Codex's secrets." Jiang Chun narrowed his violet eyes. He could feel the immense power radiating from Veilker, a force that dwarfed any opponent he had ever faced. "I am ready," he said, though even he felt the tension crawling up his spine. Veilker moved first, faster than thought. Shadows twisted into jagged spears, tearing through the air toward Jiang Chun. He barely dodged, countering with a strike of integrated starlight and shadow, but the impact threw him back, scraping his side against a floating shard of the Nexus. Pain flared, sharp and real, for the first time since his ascension. He gritted his teeth, tasting the metallic tang of blood. "So, this is the power I must surpass," he muttered. Veilker's laughter echoed across the battlefield, low and mocking. "Do you feel it, Starborn Sage? The limitations of your flesh, the fragility beneath the fire you wield. Only by embracing it will you transcend it." The duel escalated. Veilker's strikes were merciless, bending space and shadow, forcing Jiang Chun to constantly adapt. He blocked, countered, and dodged, but with each blow he felt the weight of his own mortality. One misstep would be fatal. Jiang Chun's aura flared, mixing starlight with shadows he had embraced in the realm beyond. Pain sharpened his focus, forcing him to see patterns in Veilker's attacks. He ducked a shadow spear, twisting midair, and struck with a burst of radiant energy that grazed Veilker's armor. "Impressive," Veilker intoned, eyes narrowing. "But raw power is not enough. You must master strategy, perception, and the chaos within yourself." Jiang Chun's bloodied hands clenched. "Then I will use everything. The Codex, the Nexus, my own will, to overcome you." He called upon the lessons of his past duels, the integrated energy of light and shadow, and the guidance of the Codex. A dazzling surge erupted from him, forming a barrier of starlight that refracted Veilker's attacks while launching counterstrikes with precision. But Veilker was relentless. One strike landed solidly across Jiang Chun's chest, sending him flying into a jagged spire. Pain exploded across his body, forcing him to collapse to one knee. His vision blurred, but his resolve remained unbroken. Breathing heavily, he whispered to himself, "I am more than flesh. I am Starborn. I will not fall here." Drawing upon every ounce of his energy, he rose. Shadows and light coalesced into a radiant weapon in his hand, a manifestation of both his final ascension and the lessons from the realm beyond. With a roar that shook the Nexus, Jiang Chun surged forward, moving faster than even Veilker expected. The battle became a symphony of blinding speed, precision strikes, and cosmic energy clashing with shadows that sought to consume it. Each blow pushed Jiang Chun to the edge of his limits, but he used the pain as focus, the wound as a tool to sharpen his instincts. Finally, in a decisive moment, Jiang Chun feinted, luring Veilker into a counter, and then unleashed a spiral of integrated energy that struck with the force of collective collapsing stars. Vilker staggered, eyes widening as the strike shattered his defense. The shadowy colossus fell to one knee, its aura flickering. "You have surpassed expectations," it said, voice strained. "You have embraced pain, weakness, and limitation and turned them into strength. Truly, you are a Starborn Sage." Jiang Chun fell to his own knees, chest heaving, blood streaking across his side. He had been wounded more severely than ever before, yet he stood victorious, not merely by power, but by resilience, skill, and sheer will. Vilker slowly dissolved into streams of starlight and shadow, merging with the Nexus. A new path opened beyond the jagged islands, glowing with the energy of the Codex. The trial was over, but Jiang Chun knew this was only the beginning. The celestial Nexus pulsed around him, the energy of countless realms resonating in harmony. The Starborn Sage had faced his greatest challenge yet, survived, and proven the truth of his ascension. Strength alone was not enough. Mastery demanded courage, strategy, and the willingness to face even mortal limitations. And somewhere, deep within the Codex, a secret stirred, one that could reshape not just the Nexus, but the fate of the entire cosmos. Jiang Chen's hand brushed the wound on his side, and a small smile formed despite the pain. "Then let's see what comes next," he whispered. Chapter 14, Return of the Starborn Sage. The celestial Nexus had quieted. The Codex's energy settled into a harmonious rhythm, its trials complete. Jiang Chun, battered but unbroken, had faced illusions, rival Starborn, and his own inner shadows. He had survived wounds that would have felled ordinary cultivators, mastered the balance of light and shadow, and unlocked powers beyond even the final ascension. Yet as he stepped through the final portal, leaving the realm beyond behind, the cosmos seemed to sigh in relief. He returned to his homeland, the quiet valley and humble villages that had once been his beginning. The air smelled of earth and rain. The rivers glistened under the sun, and the mountains stood tall like silent guardians. It was a world that seemed unchanged, yet everything had shifted. News of his return spread faster than any messenger could carry it. Villagers, fellow cultivators, and travelers from distant lands gathered to witness the arrival of the Starborn Sage. Their eyes shimmered with awe, pride, and gratitude, for they had heard of his ascension, his battles, and his trials. "Jiang Chun," a voice called out, belonging to an elder who had once guided him in his youth. "You have returned, and you have exceeded all we could have imagined." Jiang Chen's gaze softened as he took in the faces of those who had once known him as a boy striving to grow. Children stared wide-eyed at his aura. Young cultivators trembled with excitement at the tales of his duels, and elders nodded with respect, their hearts swelling with pride. "I have returned," Jiang Chen said, voice calm but carrying the authority of someone who had faced the cosmos itself. "But this home, this land, is where my true purpose begins. Not in conquest, not in ascension, but in life, peace, and the harmony of all who dwell here." He set to work immediately. Using his Starborn abilities, he nurtured the land. Rivers that had run dry flowed again. Fields of grain ripened in mere days, and the forests flourished with renewed vigor. He transformed his home into a sanctuary, a place where cultivators, villagers, and travelers could live safely, pursue knowledge, and train in harmony. Temples, academies, and gardens sprouted, each infused with the energy of balance and serenity he had mastered in the Nexus. Jiang Chun personally guided young cultivators, teaching not only techniques of cultivation, but also the philosophy of embracing both light and shadow, of resilience, and of courage in the face of fear. Festivals were held in his honor, yet Jiang Chun remained humble. He did not seek praise, he sought to inspire, and the people, in turn, celebrated not just his victories, but the new world he had created. They built monuments in his honor, chronicled his battles and trials, and told stories of the Starborn Sage to every child born thereafter. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains, painting the valley in golden hues, Jiang Chun stood atop the highest hill. He looked down at the flourishing sanctuary, the laughter of children, and the peace that now reigned. "I have faced the cosmos and returned," he murmured. "But true greatness is not in the stars above. It is here, among those we protect, teach, and inspire." The wind carried the faint resonance of the Codex, a gentle hum of approval. Jiang Chun smiled. He had not only ascended beyond mortal limits, he had brought his power back to the world that had shaped him, ensuring that peace, prosperity, and hope would endure. And in the valley, under the starlit sky, the people sang of the Starborn Sage, hero, teacher, protector, and guardian of life itself. Jiang Chun had become more than a legend. He had become the heart of his homeland, the beacon of all that was possible when strength was tempered with wisdom and compassion. The Starborn Sage had returned home, and in doing so, had created a world where every soul could flourish. Epilogue: A Starborn Heart. Years had passed since Jiang Chun returned to his homeland. The valley had flourished into a sanctuary of peace, where laughter echoed through the forests, rivers sparkled under the sun, and cultivators trained under the guidance of of the Starborn Sage. His name was spoken with reverence, yet he remained humble, living among the people he had protected and nurtured. One evening, as the golden light of dusk painted the sanctuary in warm hues, Jiang Chun walked along a quiet stream. The air shimmered with magic, a soft, melodic vibration that made the hair on his arms stand. He turned, and there she was. A woman of ethereal beauty hovered above the water, her form delicate and luminous, like moonlight woven into a living being. Her wings sparkled faintly, translucent and iridescent, fluttering with the grace of a gentle breeze. Her eyes, deep and captivating, held galaxies within them, and when she smiled, the world seemed to pause. "I have watched your journey," she said, her voice like a chime of starlight. "Through trials that would break the strongest of mortals, you endured. You have faced the cosmos, mastered the codex, and returned not just as a warrior, but as a guardian of life itself." Jiang Chun felt his heart tighten, not with awe of power this time, but with something deeper, something tender and profound. "Who are you?" he asked, captivated by her radiance. "I am Lyria," she said, descending to land gracefully on a moss-covered rock. "A spirit of the realms, drawn to the balance you have forged between light and shadow, strength and compassion. And I could not help but be drawn to your heart." For a moment, Jiang Chun could only gaze at her. He had faced cosmic trials, battled the mortal Starborn, and mastered powers that shaped reality itself. But this gentle being, delicate yet infinitely powerful, stirred something within him that no duel or ascension ever had. He began, then stopped, feeling the sincerity of his own emotions. "I have fought countless battles, yet I have never felt so alive. Your presence, it is like a star guiding me home." Lyria stepped closer, her wings brushing lightly against his shoulder. "And your heart has guided many," she said softly. "Perhaps now it can guide me." Jiang Chun reached out, and their hands met. The connection was immediate, a warmth that transcended the physical, a harmony that resonated through both their souls. In that moment, he realized that even the Starborn Sage, who had mastered light, shadow, and cosmic power, had room to grow, to love, to cherish, and to be inspired by another. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting the sanctuary in twilight. Stars began to appear, shimmering like diamonds against the darkening sky. Jiang Chun and Lyria stood together, their hands entwined, their hearts beating in unison. "You have faced the universe and returned victorious," Lyria whispered. "Now, perhaps, you can face something even more profound, the journey of love and companionship." Jiang Chun smiled, feeling the exhaustion of countless trials melt away in the warmth of her gaze. "Then let us face it together," he said. "For whatever the future holds, be it peace, joy, or even new trials, we will face it as one." And so, under the starlit sky of the sanctuary he had forged, the Starborn Sage found not only a home, but a heart to call his own. With Lyria by his side, the valley thrived, legends were sung, and the story of Jiang Chun, the Starborn Sage, hero, guardian, and now a man in love, became eternal. The cosmos had tested him, shaped him, and honored him, and in return, he had found love, peace, and a reason to shine brighter than any star. Final chapter, Legacy of the Starborn Sage. Decades had passed since Jiang Chun returned from the Celestial Nexus. His sanctuary had grown into a thriving realm of harmony, a place where cultivators trained in wisdom and strength, farmers tended fertile lands, and children laughed beneath the shade of ancient trees that seemed to pulse with the energy of the Starborn. Jiang Chun and Lyria walked together through the valley, their hands intertwined, eyes reflecting both the warmth of the sun and the shimmer of distant stars. Where once Jiang Chun had faced cosmic trials alone, now he shared his life with someone who mirrored the light and shadow within him, a partner in both love and guardianship. Around them, the people spoke of the Starborn Sage not just as a hero, but as a symbol of hope and inspiration. Statues commemorated his victories, and murals depicted his duels with Valkyr and Caliph, his trials in the realm beyond, and his mastery of the Codex. Yet more than the stories of power, the villagers cherished his wisdom, humility, and the compassion that had forged a sanctuary from a war-torn world. Children ran up to him, wide-eyed with awe. "Master Jiang Chun, will you teach us how to control the stars too?" one asked, holding a tiny glowing orb that pulsed faintly with energy. Jiang Chun laughed, a deep, warm sound that resonated through the valley. "The stars are within all of you," he said. "Strength is important, but courage, compassion, and wisdom are what truly make a Starborn. And remember, balance is everything. Light and shadow, joy and sorrow, strength and humility, they are all part of the path." Lyria smiled at him, her wings fluttering softly in the breeze. "You have built more than a sanctuary, Jiang Chun," she said. "You have created a legacy." He looked across the valley, the thriving crops, the gleaming rivers, the soaring spires of learning, and felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The battles, the ascensions, the wounds, they had all led to this. A life not defined by conquest or fame, but by the lives he had touched, the hope he had inspired, and the peace he had nurtured. As night fell, stars emerged, shimmering shimmering brighter than ever. Jiang Chun raised his gaze to the heavens, remembering the celestial nexus, the codex, and the trials that had shaped him. He felt a quiet resonance from the cosmos, a gentle acknowledgement of his journey. He turned to Lyria, eyes softening. "The universe tested me, shaped me, and challenged me to rise beyond myself," he said. "But in the end, I found that the greatest triumph is not over others, or even over fate. It is over the fears, doubts, and emptiness within. And in that victory, we can create a life worth living, for ourselves and for everyone around us." The wind carried the laughter of children, the songs of cultivators, and the quiet hum of the land, alive with the energy of peace and prosperity. Jiang Chun and Lyria stood together on a hill overlooking the sanctuary, the stars above echoing the glow in their hearts. And so, the legend of Jiang Chun, the Starborn Sage, hero of the Nexus, master of light and shadow, and guardian of a peaceful homeland, lived on. His sanctuary became a beacon for generations to come, a symbol that even in a world of cosmic trials and boundless power, love, courage, and wisdom could shape destinies more enduring than the stars themselves. The Starborn Sage had ascended beyond the cosmos, but he had returned to where it mattered most. In the hearts of all who dwelled in the valley, Jiang Chen's light would shine forever.